Hey everybody, welcome to the Sailor Moon Crystal After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. Season 3, Episode 4, Act 29, Infinity 3, Two New Soldiers. We'll be breaking down the episode, sharing the latest news and gossip, talking about some predictions for the future, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
So many titles.
That was a mouthful, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm trying really hard to memorize the titles and get them all out in a way that sounds natural, but it's just words. It's just a whole combination of words.
It's never changed throughout all the years.
And in actual fact,
really long titles.
I was going to say, and in actual fact, because the episodes of Sailor Moon Crystal are named after the manga acts, they're actually shorter than the 90s anime titles, which were like Saphir dies. Gee, I wonder what's going to happen in this episode.
Yeah, a lot of times there were like 2-paragraph synopses of what was going to happen.
Yep, totally. It's like you didn't even need to watch the episode. You just read the title card.
It's like a wiki summary.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Sailor Moon Crystal After Show. If you guys are listening on iTunes, thank you so much. Why don't you subscribe to us while you're there? Leave us reviews. If you leave us reviews, we'll read them on the show. And we're going to do that today because somebody listened to me last week and left us a review. So thank you so much for that. Though if you are listening on iTunes, remember, the most fun thing you can do is watch us live, like a bunch of people are doing right now, on Monday nights at 10, which is or the time it is right now, approximately.
Pacific Standard Time.
Pacific Standard Time, yes. And for all of you who are in the live chat, we're there too. We're following along with the live chat, as well as that hashtag on Twitter, ABTVSMC. I am Emma Fyffe. You can follow me all over the internet at Emma Fyffe, which is my name, and I am joined by two fabulous ladies, both of whose names begin with M. This is a theme for me, that it's like me and everyone else on the panel has the same letter for their first name. Markeia McCarty.
Yes, right here. You can follow me at Markeia McCarty, MarkeiaMcCarty.
And Megan Salinas.
Hey guys, you can follow me on Twitter at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin.
So, guys, first of all, thank you, Jade M, for saying that I look adorable, and Mika for also, Emma's Minako outfit makes me cry happy fangirl tears. Thank you. Ordinary Passerby are also commenting on my outfit. Thanks, guys.
I was going to say, yeah, for anybody who didn't know, there was a clear motif going on.
Yeah, this outfit is inspired by the outfit that Minako wears in the first opening of the first season of Sailor Moon Crystal. Halfway through, her outfit changed to a more summery look, but this was her fall ensemble. I Instagrammed a photo of it earlier, a side-by-side comparison. It's pretty accurate, and this is my cosplay bow from my Sailor Venus cosplay, in case anybody doesn't know. She's my favorite. I also have the compact that she used to transform into a boy Infinity Academy student.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh,
pretty good.
that was awesome.
Pretty good. But let's talk about this episode. Holy moly. I'm going to make a real bold statement right now, and I mean some of it is influenced by the fact that this was a very heavily Minako-focused episode, and she is my favorite, but this might be my favorite animated Sailor Moon thing yet.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Just this episode?
Absolutely loved it. And most of it actually didn't have to do with Minako, even though she was adorable, she was such a dork. I was having those moments where I was like, yep, I see why she is my favorite, because there are very similar traits between myself and her.
I like that.
But the real reason that I found this episode to be so compelling, and I think it really captured this idea a lot better than the manga did, was because of everything that transpired between Usagi and Haruka.
Yes.
And this is why. Because I felt like this episode did such a good job of portraying this very complex emotion in something that is aimed at a young teenage audience. It was so incredible because basically I felt like their sort of relationship, quote unquote, is one of this incredibly strong mutual attraction between two people that is controversial, not because they're both women, but because they are both in happily committed relationships. And to me, it didn't feel like it was wrong or it was cheating. And somebody addressed. I'm trying to give credit because it actually was in the chat before we even started broadcasting live here. Oh, it was Rebecca McDonald who was annoyed at apparently a bunch of people on Tumblr were like, oh, Haruka cheated on Michiru because she kissed Usagi, and
You don't see it that way.
I don't see it that way.
Yeah, well, judging from the expression, like afterwards with like the kiss, it didn't seem like a romantic kiss.
Exactly.
I didn't like that the kiss happened because consent always, but
Right.
but it happening, it wasn't a, oh, I'm sneaking around kind of vibe.
No,
with it.
not at all.
If anything, to go on with what you were saying with like that mutual attraction thing, I mean, you see with Usagi, she has like this complete, like, it's like a melding with each of the Sailor Guardians, and that relationship that she has with each of them is slightly different. It's tweaked in a slightly different way. So it's like she has this adoration for Michiru, you know, and then like Haruka, it's like it's just tweaked in a different way, you know.
Yeah.
But it's still her as their queen having that just instantaneous connection.
Yes, exactly. And I would argue too that like this is a real thing that happens like in life, that like I just know from my personal life, like I have encountered people in my life that for whatever reason, usually that one or both parties were in a serious committed relationship at the time, that I just experienced this incredible attraction to and connection with.
And chemistry.
It is. It's that chemistry that you just can't ignore, and it's okay.
You know,
You're not doing anything.
No,
like,
no.
In fact, if anything, it might be influenced by each of their planets too. With
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
how that they have and I mean, look at Haruka. She's she's Uranus. She's earthquake. She's world shaking.
Yeah,
She's the
seriously.
wind. She's all these raw elements.
I just get a kick anytime she like flies away. She's like, I'll kiss you and then I'll fly off into the night.
I have to ride the wind.
It is very romantic, but you're right. There's this, and not to mention that in addition to being a princess and a queen, and a magical being of sorts,
Right.
Usagi is also a 14-year-old girl, and I believe Michiru and Haruka are older than her, just by like a couple years, I imagine. Not like a ton, but they give the impression that they're a little bit older.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's also that dynamic. I mean, I remember being a freshman and really looking up to certain seniors.
Yeah.
Even though there's not that big of an age gap, there's still that, as you were saying, adoration of somebody who's just really cool.
Yeah.
And then you add that connection on top of it, and whatever happened in the past, in the Silver Millennium, there's some context that we are missing, and
Totally.
she feels that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, that Usagi is feeling that and Haruka is feeling that also, because that scene where she shows up at the arcade and is like, your friends told me to stay away from you. I didn't come here on purpose. I didn't mean to do this, but I missed you. Like, it's
Person whose name I don't know.
yeah, I know.
Like this elemental attraction to their queen.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is, and it's so like profound and overwhelming. I think that's the kiss was just like her way of kind of dealing with it. And not to mention Usagi's very sexy dream about her.
Like that.
Yeah, she legit fantasized about.
Yeah,
She did.
Yeah.
But wasn't also tactical in a way, because, she knows Usagi. She's just a
Yeah.
very sweet girl. And then that kiss, Usagi stopped chasing her.
That's true.
She sure did.
Yep.
So it kind of like killed two birds with one stone.
Well, and go ahead, Megan.
Oh, I was just going to say, well, there's also, they're laying the groundwork for a lot of ideological differences, because Usagi's such a caring person.
She is.
That, like, she wants to include everyone, and this is something you saw time and again in the 90s anime. She wants to be everybody's friend.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to hurt anybody.
Yes.
And Haruka, you can kind of get the seeds of like, yeah, they're fighting for the greater good, but you kind of get the sense that there's a little bit more edge to her, and that they're willing to go places that the inner senshi aren't willing to go.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, they're basically their first defense. Everybody thinks that they're first defense, but no, they are actually first defense.
Yep.
on everything.
Yeah, and I think too, just kind of circling back to the whole Haruka and Michiru thing is Montserrat Urelden in the chat says, or Uralden, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. At the end of the day, Haruka will always choose Michiru, and that's absolutely true. And at the end of the day, Usagi will always choose Mamoru. And I think that another thing Crystal did extremely well was handle Mamoru's role in this episode and his sort of reaction to seeing all of this transpire, because he sees her talk to Haruka when Haruka gives her the concert tickets, and Usagi can't even speak to her because she's remembering making out with her in a dream.
I like that he's so cool.
Yes.
He's so cool with it.
Yes.
He sees her being all excited with the tickets, and he's like, oh, well, I'll find someone else to go with.
Yeah.
It wasn't all, hey, what the what?
And
it wasn't.
You can tell his feelings are hurt, but at the same time, he's not the type of person to make a big deal about it.
Yeah.
Well, and conversely, Usagi doesn't get all bent out of shape when he's like, oh, Michiru Kaio's concert, it'll be great. Like, he obviously shows some interest in Michiru, and Usagi has a moment where she feels like, okay, is he kind of interested in her? But she doesn't get angry about it because she's having these really conflicted feelings about Haruka.
And this is probably the first time he's taken Chibiusa to an event.
Oh my God, that was
she didn't get upset about.
I was dying.
Yeah,
and that was a change from the manga. And I was thrilled. I was thrilled. Because in the manga, there was a little reverting back to that jealousy we saw with Usagi in the last story arc that is a little like, it's not as bad in the manga as it is in the 90s anime where it's like
Electra complex.
Right. It is as if Usagi thinks that Chibiusa is Mamoru's tiny girlfriend.
Well, and even so, they still sit next to each other. It's not like she sat in between them. It's the two of them still together. When they found out they were going to the same place, that was where they sat.
Yeah.
It wasn't a deal.
Yeah. And I love the delivery of the line and the animation in the scene where they discover where the girls who are all going with the tickets that Haruka gave to Usagi, when they discover that Mamoru and Chibiusa are also there, that moment when Usagi discovers them and is like, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, I was going to take you, but you were bragging about the fact that you had enough tickets for everyone to go, so...
So our dates become a big group event.
Yeah,
Yay.
no, but it was cute because they were on like a daddy-daughter date, and I don't know, I used to go on those with my dad when I was a little girl, and so I just had a lot of feelings about that. I really liked it.
Again, it was very well done. This could have been played in such a sloppy, schlocky way, and it wasn't. Like you said, there were a lot of complicated emotions.
Yeah. Well, there were a lot of things about this episode that I enjoyed, where it was just it could have been way more complex, but they chose cutting away the weeds and going straight forward.
Yeah.
Like everybody having the talisman dream. So it's like, okay, great, that's on the table.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the same page with that. It's like, great.
Yeah, I thought that was, I loved the way that they animated that too, and just that really dark image at the end of Usagi with the blank eyes and the crushed cosmic heart.
Everybody's on the ground, so you have that foreshadowing to look forward to. Because you know these dreams come true.
Yeah.
Mamoru-chan will tell you. All the dreams come true.
They do, yep.
Yeah.
Just believe in yourself.
And they were able to do this with them all as a group without falling back on what they kind of did in the first 2 seasons of Crystal, which was basically treating the Senshi like a unit, where they were essentially Sailor Moon's cheerleading squad in a way. But no, they were able to all have this connective thing.
Yeah.
But then later on in the episode, they're all still being treated like individuals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree, and certainly, Chibiusa and Hotaru got a nice little scene with some individual attention in this, which was really, really cute.
Yeah, can we just say how hard that is to pull off from a pacing standpoint? Fleshing out everybody a little every episode.
And I think they pulled it off really, really well in this episode. I felt like Chibiusa and Hotaru had their nice moment, which transitioned into my favorite scene of the episode, which was when Haruka and Michiru show up and are like, "What up, Chibiusa? You want to ride home in our helicopter?"
Yeah.
We've also got free candy if that is
exactly.
It would
Stranger
be the new
danger.
candy van.
Listen,
The new candy van is the helicopter.
as soon as Chibiusa gets home, Usagi needs to like sit her down and be like, we need to talk about stranger danger.
Like, do we have to have a word?
Well, it was so
Do we have
funny
to have a word?
because it was that classic like never get in a vehicle with a stranger where they're like where first of all Chibiusa offers up a name and is like, do you know Usagi? And they're like, not well, she might not know us, but we know her really well.
Be like, you want to ride home? Heck yes.
Yep. I mean, to be fair, if Haruka and Michiru showed up in a helicopter and were like, do you want to ride home?
Yeah, be like,
Come with us.
Let me grab my jump bag. Let's go.
I think we'd all say yes. I'm just throwing that out
Who would
there.
say no? No one would say no.
Yeah.
Like, no one.
Yeah.
No one in their right mind anyway.
Yeah. I did like that because, like The Witches 5.
Right,
It
yeah.
seems like we're going to be able to get like some centric episodes with each of them.
exactly.
So it's like we had Venus this time with, what was her name? Mehmet?
Yeah, Mehmet in this
Mehmet.
episode,
So
yeah.
I'm kind of wondering who's going to be the next one up. I mean, not to go too
From
far
the
ahead.
preview, it looked like Mercury.
Yeah, it's
Definitely
it's,
did. But I mean, like the name of the person.
oh, Vilui is the witch. Yeah,
Vilui?
yeah, Vilui.
Did she
yeah.
even get any time in the 90s
You know
anime?
what's really interesting? So I've been rewatching this season of the 90s anime, and Yudiel got her story really, really stretched out, and they made her into like an inventor. Mehmet got her story really, really stretched out, and hers was every Monster of the Week plot was she fell in love with somebody and decided she needed to steal their pure heart crystal.
Oh, that's right.
God, I love Mehmet so much, you guys. I love her so much, and I loved her in this episode too. Even like the short little bit, it was like there she is with her sparkly little bimbo personality, and I just love her.
I like that she was a superstar and like she already had like all these fans. There was all this backstory that had happened, and then it was like.
And it was super interesting actually because Mehmet herself is like the kind of person that she targets in the 90s anime, because in the 90s anime, she's constantly targeting like idols and actors, because her argument is, well, they have this big fan base and everybody loves them, so obviously they have pure hearts. Also, he looked at me, so now we're in love. It's mutual.
That's right. She was always just trying to sneak backstage and get like kisses and autographs.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. She's the best.
Basically the groupie
She
supervillain.
is the best.
So great.
No, Mehmet is the greatest. Well, and Hanyu Mimi, the name that she was going as her like school arts ambassador and slash teen idol.
Alias?
Leader of the performing arts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But there is an episode in the 90s anime where so she's not masquerading as an idol in the 90s anime. She does a whole bunch of different things. But in one episode, she does actually participate in an idol contest with Minako.
I remember that.
Which is actually sort of a plot line from Codename Sailor V, where Minako competes in this idol contest to star in this movie opposite Ace Kaito. Oh, and that's a whole other thing, guys.
Ace.
Read Codename Sailor V. It's really, really good.
Ace.
It's really good. And that Ace Kaito plotline at the end, those last two acts of Codename Sailor V are just like, they just rip your heart out, like in a really real way. Anyway, in that episode when she shows up, they're like, and who are you? She's like, me. Hanyu Mimi. So they did actually use the name that was her alias. But
nice little nod.
But oh my gosh, and Minako just being obsessed with her was incredible. And I feel like this season of Crystal, they're making really good use of sort of sprinkling in the super deformed stuff for comedic effect, and it is incredibly effective.
No, it doesn't feel at all out of place because, again, with as pretty as Crystal is, because they take a lot of care to make all of the characters look really glamorous. Yeah. So, adding those really cartoonish elements could have felt really out of place, but they don't. They blend seamlessly, and they're just adorable.
Yeah,
I think it's a really great homage to like how the 90s anime looks in my head.
Yeah.
The way it looks in my head is
yeah.
the way that they have it now.
I agree.
So it's like that's perfect.
Yeah,
you know, when
whereas-
you go back and look at it, like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
you go back
it's kind of blocky.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't hold up as well as you remember.
But this is what it looks like in my mind.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's kind of
So-
dated, and the music in the 90s anime feels really dated.
If there was one thing Deke did right, we've said
Oh, it
this
was the
before.
music.
It was the
oh,
music.
yeah. Oh, yeah. The Deep Clover music was awesome. No, and I have to agree with Iklaban72 in the chat that I kind of wish the show was more of a balance of the manga and the original anime. Like, they shouldn't have cut out all of the filler episodes. It gives them more room to explore things. And I agree, like, that would have absolutely been my dream for Crystal, would be that it would be more like Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, the live action version of Sailor Moon, where, like, if you skipped 3 episodes, you'd be terribly confused. Whereas in the 90s anime, if you know which episodes to skip, you're not missing anything.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But it would be nice for that. Like, I would have loved to spend more time with Mehmet.
That would be the best of both worlds, is if we got things fleshed out a little bit more, but at the same time, if the plot didn't move along like a snail, it's like the first 2 seasons of Crystal went too fast, the 90s anime went way too slow. There is a happy medium somewhere, and I feel like this season is hitting it.
It's hitting way closer to it. No, I totally agree with you.
I mean, obviously, we would like some more fleshing out of the Sailor Guardians, especially because their personalities they just seem a bit different than they were in the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, you know what?
They've grown.
They honestly, I mean, and I can't recommend these enough. Are the new Seiramyu, which are the newest Sailor Moon musicals. The personalities that the girls have that are really shining through in the manga now, not in the manga, in Crystal, though of course it is based on the manga, but I really feel like these are the personalities of the girls in the new musicals, and it's such a delight. It's such a delight to see. And I loved, one of my favorite parts of this whole episode was when they had that team up attack.
Yes,
At the end.
yes,
oh
absolutely.
my God.
It's like we got to see Coconut Cyclone again.
Yes.
We got to
One
see
of
the
my
sword
favorites.
again.
Yes, Wing Chun sword.
Elfin the sword.
And Mercury Aqua Mirage. That was the first time we'd seen it in Crystal.
Yeah.
Well, in this season of Crystal. In general in Crystal. And oh my goodness.
It was great.
Yeah, it was cool to see Mercury.
It wasn't just, oh, it's missed and now you can't see us.
Yes, that was exactly what I was
The
going to say.
defensive powers. It was more.
I have to say, like, things keep happening to the Mugen Academy students. At what point do they start to question, hey, you remember that girl who was like the head of the arts division? What happened to her? She's dead. Oh, you remember that girl that was leading the retreat? Where is she? She's dead.
She did.
So many it's so competitive. They want them to leave.
They're like, it's just like one less person on that list.
Yeah.
It's like the X-Men students like starting to question why the house has to blow up every 2 weeks. It's like, we're gonna roll with this.
Yeah, no, totally.
It's just how life is.
Yes, I agree.
No, but Neptune and Uranus power.
Yes!
It's like, and you were waiting for it. You knew it was going to happen.
Oh my
As soon as you saw
God.
that team up, and then it's like deep submerged, and you're like, yes, world shaking,
I mean,
and boom, she's gone.
Well, and I don't know who.
and gruesomely so. Like, skin melting off the
God.
skeleton, death.
Super,
Nothing's there.
Gone. You do have to hand it to whoever is dedicated enough to still be working the spotlights up in the stage.
I know!
They have a great sense of dramatic
They
timing.
sure do. They sure do. They're like, and Sailor Neptune and Sailor Uranus. So good.
But we got everything. Heart attack was in there.
It was great.
Wiping out the daemon.
And we had talked about this when we first saw the new transformation sequences, but because we love the new transformation sequences, but seeing Venus's was enough.
Yeah, it
we
was.
didn't have to see everybody else's because that left time for all of the attacks.
And I would like to tell you that obviously they have been listening to this podcast because Venus calls them on her watch. We finally use our watches and is like, yo, it's going down. and they show up already transformed. They don't like run there to check it out and then be like, oh, we should transform. Like they're
We should have
ready.
done that on the way here.
Yeah, exactly.
Although it is very cute. Not to jump backwards, but I thought it was very funny that in the '90s anime, Sailor Venus was the one that fell in love with Haruka and thought that she was a boy, and here she's the one cross-dressing as part of the infiltration.
Wait, was
method.
it Venus or was it Jupiter?
But they all did at various times
Venus
except for
was the
Ami.
one that was pursuing Haruka.
Yeah,
Okay, 'cause I remember that,
she goes after the thing she wants.
She does.
Minako.
She does.
I remember when she was with Haruka at the docks, and then how they changed it to be like, oh, there's
this boy I'm in love with.
Like,
well, and though I will say that it's like I do like, and there were lots of really funny moments, and it was just adorable to see all of the girls constantly being like, Haruka's mine. But I think that there is something a lot more complicated and profound and like very very real about what's going on with Haruka and Usagi in Crystal.
We see some shades of it in like I believe Sailor Stars later on. But in order to do that, they had to push Mamoru completely out of the way.
Yeah.
Here it's that same complicated feelings, but it's in my opinion it's done better.
Yeah. Well, they did kind of make him just, sit there and hold the seats while they went and talked. I mean, he wasn't there. Did you see him there? I didn't see him there.
I'll save the seats, ladies. It's fine.
Yeah, it's like, go do your thing.
Yep. And
Be like, love you, baby.
He's like, I gotta run home and change it to my or maybe he had his reserve tux.
Somebody in the chat earlier.
He just had to pull out a mask.
It was a while ago. Yeah, he was already wearing a tuxedo. All he had to do was put on a cape, a Dracula medallion, and a hat.
Couldn't find the medallion. He couldn't find it.
That's why it took him so long to show up. He just couldn't fight. He can't possibly fight without his Dracula medallion. Yes, so favorite moment and most emotional moment, and then we'll dive into some predictions. Favorite moment of the episode, and then like what was the most like emotionally affected moment for you in the episode?
There were a lot of emotions. I gotta say, my favorite moment, there were a lot of really good ones, but seeing the attacks from Uranus and Neptune, I verbally yelled out. So I'm like, okay, if there's a part that's making me actually, react auditorially.
Yes,
I don't think that's a word. But yeah, if I'm getting an auditory response, it's probably being the most effective. So I'm gonna say that was my favorite moment.
I love it.
Just
I love it. I love
seeing
it.
their attacks again, because it's been a long time. And probably most emotional moment, I want to say just Usagi kind of wrestling with this emotion, because she's like, what is this feeling? But at the same time, she kind of feels guilty about it because Mamoru, but at the same time, she can't help that's how she feels. So I think just her wrestling with that when she's just by herself. I think that was my favorite.
Most emotional moment, obviously, was Uranus and Neptune's attacks. That was definitely emotional, because it was like being back then and then seeing that for the first time, but now I'm seeing it for the first time is now. It's like, yes! And always deep submerge.
Yes.
Oh, God. So, yeah, most emotional, definitely there. Favorite moment was when they all had that dream sequence together.
Oh, yeah,
and
girl.
we had the foreshadowing of, the deity of destruction and everything that has to happen for that to... And, of course, Usagi on the ground.
Yes.
And Smash is like, that was my favorite moment.
My favorite moment was Minako using her crescent compact to transform herself into a boy Infinity Academy student.
It was straight out of Codename Sailor V. You're right.
It was very deliberate too. She's like, I'm turning into a boy Infinity Academy student. Like she wants to be Haruka, basically. Honestly, the moment because I cry every episode, and the thing that really got me this episode was when Chibiusa used the Ginzui Show, the Silver Crystal, to heal Hotaru. Oh, I just got chills thinking about it.
Yeah, it was because it's sort of like her being able to return this favor for her friend, because her friend helped her, and in this instance, she's able to help her new friend.
Yep.
Yeah. And although it makes me wonder if the mad science, what I will say surprised me is how much Haruka is aware of her surroundings in this version of the show, because in the 90s anime, she was blissfully unaware about so many things going on.
Hotaru?
Yeah.
Sorry, did I say
It's okay.
Hotaru?
I think I did it earlier too. There's all these H names, guys.
My apologies. It's late. Feel free to call me out on that.
That's totally fine.
She's like, oh, by the way, my dad makes these creatures.
I know. Yeah.
He makes these horrible abominations. He's a good guy, though.
Yep.
You know, here's a flashback to him. He's got a creepy eye. Oh, he's my dad.
Yeah, it's fine. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not a bad guy, really. I mean, he's sort of evil, but mostly he just is confused.
It's like, by the way, don't tell anybody.
Do you guys feel that there was a little bit too much like blatant exposition with that though? Because she's basically saying, my dad is the villain. I'm aware of this. He's still a decent fellow. And also, yeah, we have the talismans. We've had them all along.
Well, that's a thing. Yeah, I thought it was good give and take.
Laying it down.
You know,
I mean, granted, again, for some people, they're just seeing this for the first time. They've never read the manga, and this is their first. They never watched the '90s. I know it's like impossible for me to conceive, but there are people who never watched the '90s anime who.
But you
this
can.
is their first.
you can. It's all on Hulu.
Please watch it
If
so
you're
you know
in the
what we're
United
talking
States.
about.
Sorry, Canada.
Oh, that sucks.
But
Yep.
for anybody
Sorry,
watching
Melbourne.
it for the first time, I'm like, are they projecting too loudly for anybody who doesn't have context?
I don't know. I don't. As I say, it's been so long that I've known the context that I can't unknow what I already know.
It really, I mean, to an extent, I didn't read the manga, but having watched the '90s anime,
You have
I
some
know
context
what's up.
for it, yeah.
So
yeah.
I would like to know if there's anybody who's watching for the first time who this is their first exposure to Sailor Moon. I would love to hear their thoughts.
Well, and for anybody who is watching for the first time, I feel like that's a good transition into some quick predictions.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Who wants to go first?
I mean, I'm not going to predict because I just reread the next act of the manga, so it's going to be the same.
Okay, well, we definitely have, you said, Viola.
Vili.
Viola.
Vili.
Vui. Okay, so Vui is going to be a Vui and Mars off. I predict that it's going to be that Sailor Neptune ends up saving Sailor Mars with that. And then that causes a little bit of friction between her and Sailor Uranus. Because I think that's when they're going to start that arc
Mars
of, hey.
or Mercury?
Was it what? What'd I say?
Mars.
Mercury. Water.
All good.
Yeah. I was just mixing up Saturn.
It's fine.
Uranus
There you go.
just a
I'm
minute
just mixing
ago.
up planets,
Yeah.
you know, whatever.
Yep,
They're
yep.
small things. But I think that's when they're going to go full steam ahead with that. This is our world. This is your world. We're Sailor Guardians.
Yeah,
but we're not going to help you anymore. That was the last time.
Yep.
So I think that's going to happen in this next episode.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that we're going to get a flashback sequence at some point back to the Moon Kingdom, which I would very much appreciate. I don't know if we'll get it next episode, but it's coming. It's coming at some point.
Like what went down.
What went down specifically, and why it is that the outer senshi are kind of isolated and on their own, while the inner senshi got to hang out on the moon and just chill and be cool and stuff like that.
I also think a little bit more creepy scientist dad. It's been a couple of episodes now, or like one episode.
Yeah.
It's like, it's time for some more of him.
Totally.
That's going to happen.
Totally. Yeah.
I also predict that even though everybody at the Mugen Academy is super smart, no one will question that students keep dying. No one will question it. No one will make connections that these creatures, we keep becoming these weird Cthulhu-like creatures. It's no big deal. It's just every school is like this, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
100%. Yep. That is amazing. With that being said, I have a very, very tiny piece of news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Which is that the Sailor Moon Funkos are being released. I don't know if you guys have seen the images of them on the internet. If you're trying to get them on Amazon, the pre-order release date as of right now says that it is June 10th, 2016. They're also all on my Amazon wish list in case anybody wishes to purchase them for me. However, at select Hot Topics right now, you can actually get some. So I actually have Tuxedo Mask. He's really cute. He has a really tiny rose. He's 90s anime tuxedo mask though, because he doesn't have a Dracula medallion. His Dracula medallion was sadly absent in the 90s anime. But yeah, they're super adorable. They're officially being released in June, and they have all of the Inner Guardians and Tuxedo Mask thus far. I am sure that everybody else is on their way. And before we officially say goodbye, I just want to give a shout out to Drummer Girl 456, who left us a lovely iTunes review, 5 stars, amazing show with a heart emoji. Hey guys, absolutely love the show. Makes Mondays the best day. Super excited to watch the rest of the season and more. So thank you so much. And if you guys leave iTunes reviews, we'll give you guys shout outs on the show. And it also like makes us look cool, and our producers see it and they're like, yeah, people like talking about Sailor Moon and anime, and we should do more of that, which we totally
Everyone should do more of that.
Yes.
Everyone.
And with that is our episode. So, Megan Salinas, where can people find you on the internet?
You guys can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. I also have an Instagram at that same one. I always forget to plug that. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz. Turn is coming back tomorrow night. I am so excited to talk about the season 3 premiere. And I also write articles for the Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out.
Markeia McCarty.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Markeia McCarty, MarkeiaMcCarty, especially Instagram because I love pictures. And then my Snapchat, I Snapchatted a little of this, and then I was on Raw earlier. So my Snapchat is Darth Thinmints, as in Darth Vader.
That is amazing.
And as Girl Scout cookies.
Darth Girl Scout cookies.
Darth Thinmints.
Yes.
And then tomorrow I will be on TV Fights, so check it out.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
so fun.
Nice. Yeah, Megan and I did a mega movie get together over at Screen Junkies Plus a couple weeks ago. It was super fun. Yeah, it's a
Nice.
blast.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And I'm Emma Fyffe. I can be found all over the internet at my name, Emma Fyffe, EMMAFYFFE. If you are listening, that is all F's as in Fred, no S's as in Snake. I do a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz TV. I do Transformers, Robots in Disguise, Bob's Burgers, and also if you guys are Sailor Moon fans, which you should be if you are watching the show, I also do another Sailor Moon podcast. It is called Love and Justice. We will have a new episode out tomorrow morning where we really dive into just all of the Sailor Moons, just every single one of them. So thank you again so much, guys, for watching, listening, etc. And we will be back here again, same time, same place next week. Bye.
Executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Believe in yourself.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.